Hi, YouTube.
Good morning, YouTube friends and family. It's your boy GB Reviews, and today I'm doing something different. I am flying to Boston from DC, and that doesn't really sound very special because I fly a lot and I do a lot of flying videos. But today is special because I'm flying during the current events, and that is more challenging. So I'm going to document what it's like, just for folks that don't know. I mean, there's a lot of I think, misconceptions and also realities of traveling during the current situation. So I'm flying up. I'm not going to drive. I'm going to fly up, and then I'm going to pick up my son, whose university has now been closed, and I am going to bring him back home. Now, I would say the first thing about traveling during this time is that planning is key. And not planning in terms of buying flights and things like that, but planning for any types of interruptions. And I say that to say that my first hiccup is that the flight that I had scheduled to fly was canceled at 1:30 in the morning. So I'm actually on the next flight. So I was supposed to take the 7:30 flight. Now I'm taking the 8:30 flight. So I would say, just if you are planning to fly and again, or go anywhere, and you should only go if it's essential, and not for spring break and not for all these other things. I think people talk about different things like social distancing. I think that's important. And so I am flying on essential travel, but I would say if you are flying, be flexible, or if you're traveling, be flexible, because things have been changing and evolving regularly. So that being said, we're going to document the whole thing. We're going to look and see what the airport's like, park situation's like, and we're also going to see if my flight gets changed again. It is currently 6 a.m. and my flight, like I said, my first flight was canceled. Now, I would say if you're planning to travel anywhere and you have to travel, it's essential. Build in some flexibility into your schedule. I have a flight up to Boston and a flight back to Boston on the same day. I have tried to build in as much flexibility as I can by booking the first flights out to go up, just because I knew that something like this might happen. And then coming back, I booked not too late flights so that you're not stranded if things are enacted, like, city lockdowns or curfews or things like that, or flight schedule changes. So we're going to see what it's like. We're going to go to the airport. I'm going to show you exactly what the airport situation looks like. And, you can take this journey with me. It's a unique time. And so, I always talk about travel. So we're going to document this, and we're going to make sure that you see exactly what it's like. This is an unusual time, but I want to thank you guys for taking this journey with me. So with that, let's get at it. So I'm heading out to the airport. We shall see what it's like. It's kind of quiet out on the roads. We'll see what the drive is like too. But, stay with me. We'll see. It's been raining all last night, so hopefully that won't affect any of the flights, but you never know. I'm hoping that everything goes smoothly. Let's see what the roads are like. So first thing, lights are out, which is interesting, but we did have a power outage last night. There are buses still going on the road, but there's not much traffic considering it's a work day and it's 7 a.m. or 7:30 a.m. So it just shows you that people are using that telework option, because normally this road would just be too packed to even drive down, but as you can see, it's not very packed. Another set of lights out, so there's definitely a power outage. So going to the airport, it's 7:28 in the morning. This is normally 14th Street Bridge, and this is normally packed. There are there are cars, but there are not really that many cars on the road, as you can see. Going to the airport. But yeah, so this is definitely unusual, but expected for the situation. So we want to make sure that people are safe and they're in their homes. And then, as I said, if you have to travel, make sure it's essential travel only, just because it's not safe out in them streets. Anyway, we'll see what the airport's like. As you can see, the normal drop-off spot at the airport is surprisingly, or not surprisingly, just empty. There are a few people getting dropped off, but for the most part, this part of the airport would be normally packed to capacity. All lanes would be full, and you see the terminals are really empty. There's one car dropping off and a few cars dropping off up here, but for the most part, there's no one here. There are a surprising amount of cars here, considering people. Oh well, let me take that back. The parking lot is empty. I mean, that's empty. It's kind of crazy and eerie at the same time, because you just never see this. That's the thing. It's just never like this. And so there are just no cars, no people traveling, which is expected. But again, it's just, because it's not the norm, it is very surreal. This level is more cars for sure, and the reason that there are more cars on this level is this is the level where the walkways are. But typically, you would not even be able to find a space on this level, and now there's spaces like right by the door. So it is very unusual, to say the least. So I can only imagine what the inside of the airport is going to look like. I made it to the airport. I'm parked, and this is the level. It's a work day, and you can see spaces are available. So I'll walk over to the terminal, and we'll see what it's like. But as you saw from driving up, there's no one here. It's very interesting. And so we, oh wow. I mean, I don't think you can fully grasp like just how empty this is. There's just no one here. Social distancing is working, it seems, or just maybe it's people's fear of the unknown, but no one in the metro. known at the airport. It's just very strange. So I'm going to my gate, and yeah, there's no one here at the airport. It is just surreal. It's kind of ominous in some ways, but you can always get chicken from Chick-fil-A, which is kind of cool. I like that. But yeah, it is just very strange. It's also strange because it's a cavernous place and the music is playing, and so the music makes you think it's normal, but because there's no one here, you're like, this is not normal. There's no one in the security lines, which you will see in a second, and all the stores are closed. Vineyard Vines is closed, so the store that actually charges you the most for like your kind of accessories or electronics and things like that, when you leave them at home and you have to buy super expensive, they're not making any money because they're closed. Legal seafood is closed. Yeah, it's very interesting. Clear is open. TSA pre seems to be open, but it's yeah, it's just very odd. So I got randomly screened, but I was expecting it because there's only like 2 other people going through the TSA screening. So, but clear worked. TSA pre-check worked. But if I show you how many people are actually in the airport, look at this. There's no one. Yeah, it's very quiet. Very good time to travel. It's like I said, it's kind of eerie, but it's also, there's some stores open. This store is open, which is kind of cool. You can get drinks. Got people with masks. But all the restaurants are closed, which is very interesting. Taylor's Gourmet is open. One restaurant, which is a restaurant I would never go to, is open. But all the restaurants that you want to go to, except for Chick-fil-A, closed. So, looks like my plane is here. Let's look and see. And planes are taking off, which is good. My first flight was canceled, and so I'm glad that this flight looks like it's going. Boards in 13 minutes. So, on the plane, and nobody's, I mean, there's a few people that came in from Boston, but nobody on the plane. Ooh, that's crazy. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's, no one's on the plane. You look out there, there's nobody on the plane, but we'll see. I think it's maybe 10 people on this flight. But I'm glad I made it because, you know, I was unsure. And they got in late because I think they were canceling flights and then just trying to add people. So we shall see. All right. See what it's like in Boston. Signing off. So I made it to Boston. It's considerably colder here. There's only 5 people on my flight, and that's that was like probably the least populated flight I've ever been on, aside from private jets. It felt like a private jet. The crew's super nice. Folks from American, they're excellent. Boston Airport is slightly more lively, even though things are closed. There are definitely more things open, which is so interesting. We'll see if it gets any better as we, there's definitely more people here. Yeah, as you can see, there's just not many people at the airport, but more than Dulles. I mean, more than the National Airport, for sure. So baggage claim is empty. I didn't mean to spin around so quickly, but baggage claim is empty. Like, ridiculous, crazy. So far, that's half my journey. We will see how I fare on the way back, but coming uneventful, pretty easy, and still no one's at the airport. It's kind of cold outside. I gotta put on a coat because Boston's much colder than DC, but we'll continue this journey and see what happens. All right. Take care and talk to you soon. Stay inside. Nobody's on the rental bus. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, see, look, this is empty. Crazy. So we're driving in Boston, going through the tunnels. There's only a few cars out. Again, it's a work day. People are sheltering in place, so it's kind of crazy. Folks that didn't know, Washington Monument is also in Boston. No traffic on the highways. The Disaster Twins. Oh yeah. No. So that was easy. Dropped off the rental car. Not many people here. Dropped off our bags, and now we're about to go take the shuttle back, and then we'll see if it picked up a little bit. When I came in this morning, you saw the airport was empty, and we'll see if it's gotten better. Nobody gave her a look. So we made it through security, and now we are just sitting in the lounge. As you can see, it's super empty, and the bar is shut down, and they have prepackaged food. So let's go look at that. St. Patrick's Day cupcakes, yes. Sandwiches, nice. Steak salads, brownies, cookies. Oh, I'm digging it. So this is the Delta Sky Lounge in Boston. It's pretty cool if you're an American Express Platinum card holder. Normally I would do a separate review on this, but because of the insinuating circumstances, I am looking at the options as they are. The lounge is cool. The bar is closed, but they do have drinks, Diet Cokes. It's kind of cool. So still have coffee and tea options, but of course, so it's cool. But anyway, that's Sky Club. As you can see, it's empty. It's me plus my son and one other person. That's it. So all in all, thus far, this trip has been pretty good. I can't complain. Gabriel was all right, safe and sound. And we're in the Delta Lounge. Normally the lounge would have hot food, and the Delta Lounges have been revamped, so they are similar to the American Express Centurion lounges. But since we're in the lounge and it's pandemic time, they have boxed lunches. But it's okay because they actually have turkey clubs and steak salads. So I'm not mad at that. And they have Diet Coke, which I like. So I guess if you're traveling during this time and you like to drink alcohol, I guess that would be problematic. But for me, I'm not mad. It's pretty good. Gabriel's eating a turkey club. Oh, and they even have, let me just tell you, St. Patrick's Day cupcakes. I'm loving it. Even though St. Patrick's Day is gone, St. Patrick's Day lives in my heart with these St. Patrick's Day cupcakes. All right, well, I'll give you the final countdown steps to going back to DC once we go to the gate, which is a few hours from now, and then we make it back to DC. We'll see if the DC airport picked up anymore. So I'm out for right now.
28,000 feet. For flight time, wheels up to wheels down, about 1 hour, 10 minutes.
Hilarious.
My name is Captain C. I'll be your captain today. Assisting me to my right is First Officer Butts.
This is crazy.
Up front in the cabin, you have Takesha. In the back, you have Charles in there, primarily for your safety. So please take this for your safety announcements.
And we got Charles in the front.
Weather in D.C. right now, temperature.
So we made it on the flight, and we are now just 3 people on a huge plane. But first class is cool, and yeah, I might sleep on the way back because I'm tired. I've been traveling all day. But as you can see, that it's not many people out. But if you have to travel, like I said, it's easy. The airline staff super nice. The people in the airport are kind of upbeat, and so I'd say just make sure you're very nice to the folks who work in the airport, because they are putting themselves on the line to make sure you reach your destination. So we're almost there.
Be located behind you. Seatbelts must be fastened for taxi, takeoff, and landing.
So now we're here. There's more people in the airport, but still not many people. And you can see that the Starbucks is closed down, which is kind of crazy. Things are covered. There are a few grab-and-go things in the terminal, but not many. And people are just kind of doing their thing, which is, so they're probably mostly people working here, but definitely more people than when we first came. So it's not 100% weird traveling, but it's not normal either. But I think it's okay. It's pretty good. So, welcome back to DC. We made it back. Still not a lot of people here, but it's not bad. There's definitely a lot more people than when I first started out. And GB's home. I think he was the last MIT student left in Boston. Now he's... Oh yeah, except the ones who got exemptions. But anyway, now we're back into Washington, D.C. area, ready for whatever's to come. Anyway, as I say, travel on this day was actually not so bad. It's kind of lonely, but luckily for us, every aircraft that I went on today, I was in first class, so it was great. Not that I even utilized it, but it was, and the tickets are like super cheap now. So if you have to do some kind of travel that's mandatory travel, definitely travel now, because it's the best time, the cheapest time. Also, it's probably a good time to buy tickets for the future. So like if you have tickets already, I would say just cancel those tickets and rebook them now.
Until the airlines go down.
Yeah, well, if the airlines close, like it could possibly close, that's okay. Then you might or might not get your money back. But it's like playing the stock market. I would take the chance. So anyway, it's your boy GB Reviews and just regular GB. And we're out. Thank you for watching. Thank you for taking this trip with us. And be safe out there. Wash your hands. Don't touch people. Sneeze in your elbow. And social distance. All right, we're out. It's still like a lot. It's still like really nobody in the airport. And maybe it's time for the airlines to reset, and they could be like this all the time. Just like not so many people traveling. Or it could be expensive too, but just not so many people in the airport. So there's more cars in the parking lot now, but not really. Only near the elevators. So I made it back home. All in all, it was an uneventful process. It was, like I said, a bit ominous, but I'm glad that I was able to go pick up my son, and I was glad that I was able to experience what it was like traveling during these times. It was pretty nice. The airline staff, I flew up on American, I flew back on Delta, and the airline staff for both companies were really hospitable. And I have to say that they are really on the front lines of all the things that allow kind of people to keep moving around who have to move around. If you don't need to travel, don't travel. If you have to travel for work or because you have to check on relatives or pick up family members, do that, but be safe. Social distancing is definitely important. And I would say that you don't have to really worry about social distancing, because when you're in the airport, you are socially distanced because there's just not many people around. But even though there weren't many people around, it still was important to make sure that we were mindful about the surfaces that we touched, that we washed our hands, and that if we were sneezing, we were sneezing inside our elbows and not, shaking hands or sneezing out in the open. So it was fine. And again, there wasn't really many people traveling, so I didn't feel that I was at a great risk, because one flight had 5 people on it, the other flight had 3 people on it. That being said, please limit your travel if you can. Spend more time with your family members. Make sure that you are adequately stocked up with food and things like that. And so experiment with recipes that you haven't tried before. I'm gonna put that out on YouTube sometime soon. It'll be a corned beef in a slow cooker. Anyway, this is your boy GB Reviews. Please hit that algorithm, please hit the like button for the algorithm, and subscribe. Please give me your comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know your travel stories if you had to travel, and hopefully you'll stay safe out there and we will weather this together. Anyway, it's your boy GB Reviews. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and like below. I'm out.
Subscribe right below.